We're back with another explosive tactic on Football Manager 2024. It's been a while we've done this, but this one is special because it works well for mid-table teams and underdog teams too. Scoring a lot of goals and controlling the game by taking it to the opposition. I tested this with two teams in the Football League. The first, which pays tribute to the great Rory Delap, is Stoke City. It also pays tribute to Peter Crouch. Who remembers that afternoon Liverpool got beat 6-1 by Stoke? Oh my days. The second team is a former FA Cup winner, as shockingly as that might be. But in case you haven't guessed it, it's Wigan Athletic. Both teams did fairly well with the tactic, but we're going to start off with Stoke. Stoke City did go on to have the second highest amount of goals in the championship, and considering that Leicester City somehow always go on to win the league, they had 101, but Stoke City had 96 goals all season. Looking at the data hub, they did go on to score 2 goals per game, but they were conceding a fair number of goals, which is what I didn't actually like about how it worked out with Stoke. But they were predicted to finish in 9th place in the league, but they ended up finishing in 6th place, which was close to the promotion places, but not enough to actually get them in there. And if you look at the playoff, they actually made it to the playoffs and they lost to Leicester City by 1-0 in the first leg, and then the second leg they went on to draw 1-1. So despite being the top goal scorers in the league, Leicester City did not actually go on to win the league. Wigan did a whole lot better in their division. They had 1.98 points per game, and then they scored 1 goal more than Stoke City. But if you look at their other stats, they actually had the fewest shots against. They had the most possession in the league with 59% possession. They also had the most dribbles in the league as well with 791. So the tactic operated differently for Stoke City than it did for Wigan Athletic, and it seems like Wigan actually adjusted to the system a lot more, and they are in League 1, so I don't know if that plays a factor. You can see them in the least conceded as well. Wigan actually conceded only 37 goals all season, so that differs with how the tactic worked defensively for Stoke City and how it works out very well for Wigan Athletic. If you look at the league table now in detail, Wigan actually went on to win the Sky Bet League 1. They had a goal difference of 60 with 91 points, and they lost only 5 games all season. That's they lost to Portsmouth, to Oxford United, Barnsley, Leighton and Cheltenham Town. So the tactic that we're looking at is the Darren's devastating 4-1-2-3, but designed for Football Manager 2024. Now you need to pay attention at this point because it's really instruction heavy, and though it's designed for lower league teams, you will find players that will fit into most of the roles here. I think the only problem you're going to have is the complete wing backs on attack TT, but to be honest, you can actually swap these players to wing backs on attack or full backs on attack if you're going much lower down the league. But starting with the goalkeeper, there's a super keeper on defend duty and there are no instructions attached for him. But your central defenders, I did have an issue with switching this to ball playing defenders, but because we're staying in the lower leagues, I kind of kept it at central defenders on defend duty, and those central defenders are going to close down a lot less. It's important that they do that because you don't want them to be dragged out of possession very often. They're also going to tackle harder and mark tighter. Now both central defenders will be doing the same thing. So they're going to form a blanket and keep some space for the halfback up ahead to kind of slot in between them and then form a sort of back three. You notice that the complete wing backs are going to get ahead a whole lot. So your 2 complete wing backs are going to be asked to tackle harder on both sides. Let me just go ahead and add that here. Tackle harder. Now one of them has been asked to mark tighter while the other is just going to tackle harder. Your halfback is going to be instructed to shoot less often and then to mark tighter as well. You have a central midfielder. In fact, both players are central midfielders on attack duty. This is quite risky, I know, but it's going to help you because you have a false 9 on support duty up ahead. So you have your left-sided or your right-sided central attacking midfielder. He's going to take more risk, close down more and then mark tighter. But the left-hand side, the central attacking midfielder on the left-hand side is going to dribble more, shoot less often, move into channels, close down more, tackle harder and mark tighter. There are 2 inside forwards on either side of the false 9 in this system, and then the inside forward on the right-hand side has been asked to play more direct passes, so they're going to act like the playmakers in the team. They're also going to roam from positions, sit narrower, tackle harder and mark tighter. You'd notice that the inside forward on the left hand side has the same instructions. Now the false 9 is also acting like a playmaker in this side because the central attacking midfielders are going to be the one getting into the box. So you can see that your false 9 has been asked to play more direct passes, shoot less often, roam from positions, move into channels, close down more, tackle harder and mark tighter. Now the general mentality for this system is to play positive, but I do recommend that you can go on balance or you can go on cautious if you're playing against much bigger sides. And I also recommend that remember that you can use wing backs on attack DT, or if you're going way down the league, you can actually play with 4 backs on attack as well. So starting with in possession instructions, then your team is going to be playing very narrow, and that's because you're going to try to break the opposition down from the center of the field. Your central midfielders on attack duty and then your inside forwards on attack duty are also trying to get into the box to the middle. So you're going to have to create some room for your fullbacks or complete wing backs to actually overlap. So you're going to play with a narrow width. For the approach play, the team is also going to pass into space, and you can see the further emphasis on playing through the middle. The team is also going to be playing out of defense, and then you can see that for passing the readiness, we're going for shorter passing and passing with very high tempo. In the final third, the team is going to try to play low crosses into the box, but if you have top strikers, they can actually switch this to mixed crossing. They're also working the ball into the box while running at defense and then being more expressive. In the transition, they're going to try to counter press and try to win the ball back high up the pitch. They're also going to go for the counter attack when they do go on to win possession. The goalkeeper has been instructed to play the ball to the centre backs and then play to the full backs. I didn't really force a distribution type, so the keeper can choose between passing the ball to the players or just rolling it out to them or throwing it short to them somehow. When the team is out of possession, they're going to play with a high press, but you can see that the defensive line is left to standard. The trigger press is also set to much more often trigger press, and they're going to try to force the goalkeeper to play the ball long in the air and try to win it. When the goalkeeper goes for those long air balls, they're also going to try to get stuck in and kick the opposition as often as possible and try to win the ball back aggressively. Now, for further tweaks that you would like to make to the tactic, you can actually swap your central midfielder on the right hand side to play as an advanced playmaker on attack DT. That sort of works well if you do that. And then you can also, of course, swap the complete wing backs to either play as wing backs on attack DT, or you can ask them to play as full backs on attack DT, trying to force them or encourage them to get up ahead and try to cross the ball into the box, allowing them to be the players that are going to offer the width in the team, while the inside forwards then go ahead and try to force the play through the middle. Your fullbacks are going to get ahead and try to cross the ball and, stretch the pitch that way. If you notice that it's becoming too difficult to actually break the opposition down, you can also try to play with a fairly wide width and then try to stretch the pitch like that. Because you have wing backs and or fullbacks on attack DT and complete wing backs on attack, the team is actually going to try to stretch the pitch, and then your inside forward will still get into the box, into narrow areas, into central areas, taking advantage of that space that has been created by you playing an excessively wide width or a fairly wide width. That could be one way you can go about breaking teams down. Another recommendation is actually switch from a higher tempo to a slightly lower tempo. I've talked about this before in a previous video. If you're struggling to break team down, just slowing the tempo a little bit can actually help you gain more control over the match. So those are subtle tweaks you can make to the tactic, and I'm going to attach a link in the description so you can download the tactic for yourself and then test it out and see how it works out for you. Do let me know in the comment section if you have more interesting tactics. I'm actually going on to test out more tactics on Football Manager and going on to create new tactics for you guys as well. So do stay tuned to the channel for more videos like this. If you did enjoy this one, remember to leave a like on it, and also if you're not already subscribed to the channel, you can do so now. I do appreciate all the support you guys give to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.